The fuck? It's not my world. What the hell? See, you see how they try to do me dirty? You see how they try to do me dirty? That's not in my world, man. Come on now.
I held her to help her calm down and she began to relax, but still remained on alert. That he noticed my family had recently visited, and then proceeded to ask if they had left. He then started asking me if I was in school or working. I responded by saying I was working. He then asked how much money I make. I began feeling very uncomfortable and laughed off his question by stating I didn't remember. He wouldn't accept this answer and kept pestering me. I responded by saying,
My word better be here, man. This took me a while to find this spot and get all the materials.
my security deposit. I'm also nervous. Living here for a few more weeks.
Okay, DoorDasher, buckle up. Time to turn miles into money with Everlast. Yeah, hustle life ain't easy. Early mornings, late nights, traffic jams that make you want to scream. And while I'm out there delivering the goods, there's...
When I was around 8 or 9, I would walk to my mom's work. It was less than half a block away. I also lived in a small town of 500 people. After I was done swimming at the local pool, every now and then... Shout out to my mom for nailing stranger danger into my brain. Anyways, one day I left the pool early. It was around 8 p.m. and all my friends had left as summer was just about over, so I decided to leave early. The half block to my mom's work was in a cul-de-sac-like area, so you couldn't see the
Go to
building.
another. If I go to another, I want to check
Until
my
you
tool.
came to the halfway point.
I want to
I
check
was
my.
by a house with a small grove of evergreen trees when this blue old car pulled up beside me. Before in my life, he rolled down his window and gestured for me to come closer. Instant panic set in. My mom had told me about things like this happening. I didn't move closer. I just simply looked at him and said, "What?" He looked at me and leaned really close into the passenger
I'm gonna
seat
go back
near
to
me.
mine.
"Do
I'm
you
going
want to
another.
ride?" I
Actually,
froze. My mind was racing. He didn't say the code word to my mom, and I had.
get
Why was
quarters
he
for my
asking me
fortune.
this? I then decided to walk into the yard with the evergreen trees. I shouted at him, "No, I live right here." The guy said something, but I couldn't hear him as I was walking towards the house. He paused for a minute, watched me walk away, and rolled up his window and sped away.
What the fuck? What the hell they got me into, bro? Like, that just...
Called my mom bawling. She came to the pool immediately and walked me to her work. She also called the police and I had to talk with a cop about what happened. Nothing ever came of it. I didn't get the license plate numbers, so they never found out who it was. I wasn't allowed to walk alone from the pool anymore after that for the rest of the later, right at the beginning of school. It was a rumor, but apparently some guy had walked into the school and snuck by the office staff. He ended up knocking on a classroom door and said he was here to pick up his kid as there was a family emergency or something. The teacher didn't recognize this male and immediately told the office staff. He ended up being told to leave and the police were called. This was
Yo, what you got yourself into, bro?
And like I said, the last story
Hello?
true.
Yo,
What you got yourself into? This bitch testing my shit up now.
bro, bro, you gotta back me up. You gotta back me up.
That's a girl or a guy?
Dude, that's a girl, bro.
Oh yeah, she tried to hop on my ass. Like, bitch, I was like, I got to, come at her a little bit. No disrespectful shit, but she tried to come at me. Like,
bro,
what you
okay.
do?
Just tell her you told me to do it. Okay?
I ain't do shit, my nigga. I'm not taking the blame for you. Could you go get some punani, my guy? I'm fucking with you. I got you, homeboy. I got you.
Alright. Thank you very much. Oh my god, dude. You're a lifesaver. Thank you so much.
We see. Invite her to the party.
Invite her to the party?
Yeah.
I bet.
Do I need, blocks?
my piazza. Most of the guys seemed normal, maybe a little pervy. One guy, though, that didn't talk at all. One of the other guys.
Why you blow her shit up for?
Guy wanted to kiss me, and I should go home with him. I laughed it off.
Okay, I have a tradition.
This guy said tradition. You not, yeah, I don't want you on my world today. We got that tradition.
No, I would never do that to you, Road, bro. Okay, I planned a scheme. And like, I had a whole list of shit I was gonna do on their server, right?
Yeah.
And so we were doing a build battle. I gave myself infinite invites so they couldn't see the particles or anything. So I go down there and Fluffy Smuffs TPs to me and she sees all this shit. And the only person that's not with that group was me. So she started spamming my name in chat. And so I had to go back into my base, drink milk, and act like I was just building. She just texted me a bunch of A's.
You just gotta, you know, deal with the consequences, I guess. I don't know. She added me quick as a bitch. I got a friend because I know. I'm like, the fuck, like.
My boyfriend is still on the phone, and I narrate everything that's happening.
What I do.
This guy clearly doesn't speak English.
What the hell are you sending to her?
No, I ain't saying her nothing. Why she screenshot something?
I'll screenshot something to you.
Yeah, if she screenshot me my messages, whatever. Yeah, I just told her what you telling me, whatever. I told her you telling me what you did, and I was like, okay. She need to calm down though. She bugging. She bugging for the situation.
Look, bro.
Hold on, I got you. She bugging though. I'm not lying. Oh, what the fuck?
He's happy with the plan we've made. So I watch him for a few seconds to make sure he's not going to change.
Yeah, like it's weird.
Then I start to run down the road seriously.
How the fuck you even met the girl, bro? Like you be meeting some crazy ass girls, bro.
I don't know, man. But she's not joining for some reason.
So I didn't see this guy again. I was extremely shaken up and ended up moving apartments so I could be within the city walls. When I told my landlord this story to explain why I was moving, she told me something even more chilling.
I think I've already been to this bastion. I think I have. This Cabo over here, I think I have. I don't know, I'm lagging though. I'm lagging the fuck. No, you know I lost my Minecraft for boy. Have you been on my first one?
Yeah.
I lost it, by the way. My shit corrupted.
Oh, what?
Bro, listen to me out. I think it was the listen to me out. I think it was the pumpkin, the watermelon, and the sugarcane, like the redstone, and the map wall and the beacons around. I think that's why, because you know. But like that, bro, I was so irritated, bro. Like I took a break off of Minecraft for like 4 days, but I'm back in bed with a new world, you know. I'm working on it, you know. So like,
she's not joining.
I think I've been here. That shit. I need to grab levels, grab all this shit out of here. You got any fish to be paid back or not?
Yeah, I know.
Find a blaze spawner.
I was at the beach with my family, and we were all returning from the shore. I went ahead of everyone, and it is important to note that I left the shore and came back to the house while everyone else was still packing the beach gear. When I got back, my grandmother let me in the house by unlocking the door. It didn't occur to me until after I had finished showering that it made no sense how my grandmother got back before me. I started freaking out, and eventually everyone else got back.
Fuck.
But I legitimately do not think of a logical explanation for this story.
Dude, I'm at one half heart.
So this one comes to mind. I was living with my aunt and uncle at the time, and they lived in a then newish housing development in like the Indiana exurbs. One day I was home going about my business when while coming downstairs I bumped into just this phone call. I was positive that it didn't come from my uncle, and I only since
Yo, bro. 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 Yo. Look at it go. Yeah.
almost died right there. They're mad at me.
We pulled into our neighborhood, and I saw him keep going
I
straight.
got enough. I'm out of here, bro. I'm not gonna push my levels. I'm out of here. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Faster, 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 faster. Oh my god, I'm dead here. I'm dead here, bro. I'm fucking dead. I'm totally dead, bro. Like, I'm so fucking dead. Yep. Come on, go faster, bro. Why are you taking like 20 years to load?
And not once did I mention
I'm dead, bro.
for that matter, give him permission to just come over hunting.
Get him out right, bro.
So my mom went out and told him
Come on, let me fucking put it on.
asked him what he wanted.
God,
He
bro.
just wanted to talk to me. He literally said, baby shit or anything. I have cameras on all four corners of my property. I was watching them and made note that instead of circling
That's just some bullshit, bro. My game was fucking
like
frozen.
everyone else does, he backed all the way down
Fuck
my
out of here. I got
driveway,
no
making
blaze
it
vibes.
impossible to get a tag number. He told us that his name was Larry at the store. When he called my phone, like literally an hour after he left my house, the name on the caller ID was Anthony Johnson. I immediately did a reverse call search. After having to pay him back to get that information, because for some reason my first instinct was, oh no, someone's in trouble, like a naive kid, even though I would have been like 16 or 17 at the time. Of course, then my brain kicked in, and I realized that approaching that voice was just about the stupidest thing I could do, so I started quietly backing away. Unfortunately, my cat had followed me on the walk and wasn't backing away with me. No, she was walking towards the voice, softly hissing. I remember desperately trying to get her to come back towards me without alerting the voice to my presence, just in case they hadn't noticed me yet. But I was getting scared and didn't want to stay there a moment more, so I ran forwards and grabbed her, then turned around and bolted back towards my house. I don't know if it was stupid of me to turn my back to the voice as I was making so much noise while running that there was no way they didn't know I was there, and I had no way of knowing if they were giving chase. I was so terrified that whole time, the image of someone cloaked in shadows chasing me entered my mind, and even though I couldn't hear anyone behind me, I never once slowed down until I was back safe and sound within my house. It doesn't end there though. Despite how terrifying it was, there was still a part of me that was concerned about whoever it was, because what if they really had needed help? So I asked my mother to drive us to the location. Another very stupid decision considering what we found, that being nothing, we called out, but nobody answered. We didn't get out of our car though. Luckily, neither of us were that stupid. We drove home, having seen nothing and no one. But it still bothered me in the morning, so I had my mother drive us over again, and we searched the immediate area. Nothing, no indication that anyone had been there. There was no body, which admittedly was a drastic thing to search for. But I know shock can leave you eerily calm, which could have explained the monotone voice, and the lack of response afterwards made me fear that we'd been too late, and we'd find a body in the morning. I don't know if I would have preferred this outcome, because at least then I would have had a face to the voice. But no, we found absolutely nothing, and to this day I have no idea who that voice belonged to, and why they were monotonously calling out for help. My mind has natural conclusions and theories that leave me unable to sleep. Rapist, kidnapper, serial killer, all the classic horror stories, but I guess I'll never really know for sure.
Bye!
This happened 7.5 years ago, June 23rd.
I'm back, y'all. I'm back.
Through some of the ones that I didn't use to make sure that there was nothing I had in them.
Just grabbing every course.
In the back corner. It looked like some type of shirt or rag. I grabbed it and saw that I didn't think it was mine. But when I moved it, it revealed a small white lever that I could barely see. The cabinet was in the corner, sorted by the sink and halfway blocked by the stove. I thought it was just another pipe, but it just looked a little different to me. I got inside and had to crawl inside the cabinet, which was pretty large. Once I got inside, I saw there was a small trapdoor to the side leading into the wall. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You had to be completely inside in order to see the detail of it, and I decided to open the door, which led to an extremely narrow hallway with a sort of crawl space. But when I got farther inside, I was horrified. I saw that there was food as well as several blankets, as if someone had been living inside them. At least to me, is that whoever was in there was gone. I tried to make sense of it and figure out how long the person had been there and how I didn't know about it. I was gone from the house a lot with work and other stuff, but I didn't know how it was possible for someone to live in there without me knowing. I continued cleaning until it got pretty late, and the next day after work I continued. I was still kind of in shock with finding a secret room in my house and decided to look at it once again. I opened the cabinet and went inside, and I pulled the lever open just like I had the previous day. But this time, as soon as I opened it, I I saw a movement and then saw a person for a split second. They slammed the door back shut on me, and I immediately turned and ran all the way out of my house to my car, and then called the police. I was so scared that I started driving away as well. I opened up my phone, told the police the whole situation, and they came to my house a short time later to find that whoever had been there was now gone. I was absolutely disgusted knowing that this random person had access to my house for who knows how long. It felt like a vivid nightmare of it. When I opened up my phone to call the police, it showed that the date was June 23rd, 2016. I still remember this date 7 years later. It stayed with me like a scar. A scar I don't know if I will ever heal from. Luckily for me, I moved out the next week. I really don't know how long the person was living in my secret room, but thankfully it never gave me a phone. Thanks for reading my horror story. As someone who has already experienced things like home invasion, I would always suggest that you lock your doors because you can never know what people can do when they are in your
I'll come
house.
back here and share with
This happened when I was 14. At that time, AOL was in full swing, and I found a guy that said that he lived near me. We messaged back and forth for a couple days, and then he asked if we could hang out. Not during the day. No, he wanted to come over in the middle of the night. I stupidly gave him my real address. I was home alone. My parents are divorced, and at that point, I lived with my dad and work friends. For some reason, I just got this really bad, anxious feeling when he said he was on his way. I turned off all the lights, locked all the doors and windows, and just sat in my living room, looking out of the curtains of my living room window. I see a car pull up, and this dude isn't 16 like he said. He's got to be late 20s, early 30s. He knocks. Of course, I'm not answering that door. I'm scared shitless at this point. He then starts to knock louder. No answer. Then he starts to pound on the door. I just sat there frozen and waited for him to leave. Thank God I listened to my instincts. Anytime you get that feeling, you should listen to it without question. For purposes, I'm using a throwaway account. It's a fake name. This happened 2 days ago. I was on my way home from visiting my friend's house. I was driving on a back road late at night in my Tesla Model 3 while it was on auto drive. I'll admit that I was not paying attention to the road, and I was on my phone while I had my music in the car playing. The ride was okay and chill for a while, but I'm not really sure because I was not paying attention to the time. Out of nowhere, my car immediately braked and made a alarming sound. I was scared shitless and immediately took control of the wheel and looked through the windshield. When I looked, I saw a figure standing inches from my car, barely avoiding me. My heart was racing from the impact, and now seeing what I could only assume to be a person. I didn't even flinch from the sight of what was being hit. I looked at them for a good 10 seconds before I put my car in I locked my doors while they were approaching because I was terrified. They asked me if I could roll the window down to speak to them, but I refused and told them that I could hear them from the other side. I then asked why were they out here all alone in the cold, and they told me that their car had broken down and that they were hoping someone would stop to help them. As they were talking, I got a good look at their face, and they appeared to be 25-30. They also asked me my name, and I told them my name was Rebecca. They told me their name was Ashton. After that small talk I told them that I would be calling someone to come assist them with their situation. They weren't happy with that, and insisted that I drop them off to a friend's house who lived nearby. That's when I become really freaked out and suspicious. They had told me they were waiting for someone, and now they need to be dropped off. I then put my car back into drive and told them again from the window, since Megaphone is not available in park, that I would call someone to come help them. They then tried to reach for the door handle, but I guess they forgot that Tesla handles are embedded into the car. When they did that, I immediately stepped on the pedal and went flying down the road. I didn't even look into my rear view mirror or put the car back into autopilot. The whole ride back, I was scared shitless. I got back into a main road where I would hope to see cars and just floored it home. I couldn't get my mind off of it for the rest of the night. I have suspicions that that guy was not alone, and that there was other people with him. I pray that they didn't hit someone else who wasn't as lucky as me. I will never in my life stop to help some random person ever again. The story I will give you takes place in Virginia Beach, Virginia in 1997. I was 11 years old at the time. My parents were divorced and I was staying the summer with my father in his apartment with him. My dad worked long hours and I spent a lot of time alone. I was bored most of the time and struck up a friendship with a middle-aged woman who lived on the second floor of the apartment building across from ours. She was a kleptomaniac, and because of the numerous charges, I was told her daughter was in foster care, but she spent the night on weekends with her. She liked my company because, like me, she was a little lonely and bored, but more than that, I cleaned her house for free out of boredom and my desire to please. One day, while we were watching talk shows midday, she casually asked me if my father knew anyone that did house clearings. She was aware of his metaphysical interests and activities. I told her not that I knew of and asked her why. She told me that just now and often she saw a dark shadow go past her second floor bedroom window, which she could see from the couch, but not me. She said it gave her a sinking, sick feeling, and she thought it was bad energy. Noticing my discomfort on the subject, she stopped talking about it. A couple weeks later, her daughter came to spend the weekend, and I stayed the night with her since we were also friends and close in age. We were trying to fall asleep in the daughter's bedroom, which had a window facing the same side that her mother's did, which she frequently saw the black shadow out of. I felt like someone was staring me down so intensely my tummy started churning. I did not say anything because I thought it was just in my head from what her mother had said a few weeks prior. While trying to tell myself it was just my imagination, the girl asked me if I felt like someone was watching us. I said yes, and she suggested we move to the couch. As we got up and were walking into the hallway with my comforter trailing behind me, I was looking down out of discomfort, and as we passed the open door of her mother's bedroom, I saw two black boots Victorian style with heels and buttons going up to the ankle standing at the foot of her mother's bed. My eyes followed them up to a white lace trim long skirt, hands neatly folded at the waist, a frilly bust with buttons that went to the top of a turtleneck collar. When my eyes met hers, she was plain-faced, staring back at me. She had long sleeves and clearly dressed in Victorian garb with dark long hair pulled up to a bun on the top of her head. I threw the comforter over my head, ran as fast as I could to the couch, and told myself it wasn't real with my head covered until I eventually fell asleep. I told no one about what I saw as I got up. It was just my sensitivity. The next week, the mother and I were sitting on the couch watching our talk shows when she saw the dark mask pass my bedroom window again. She told me so and said that even though she doesn't like it, the apartment did not need a clearing because there was a woman that stood at the end of her bed from the first night she moved in that protected her. She went on to describe her exactly as I had seen her. My blood ran cold as I hadn't told anyone about what I saw, and I still did not disclose to my neighbor that I had seen her too. It was a long time before I told anyone as it scared me shitless, though I didn't spend too much time on the phone anymore after that day, and if I did, I made sure I was always in the same place. I have several stories from Mexico, a place of many myths and legends. This particular one is recounted by a friend of mine about his uncle and his uncle's friend, who found themselves in horrifying circumstances. So my buddy's uncle and his friend were headed home on the highway one night years ago in the state of Mexico. They were riding in one of those old flatbed trucks used to transport vegetables from Oaxaca that day. They were farmers, a rarity in Oaxaca at the time because it was very rural and had only recently had a concrete highway installed. As they were returning home, the uncle noticed something in the rear window. He made out what seemed to be a horse about 150 feet away. He couldn't really make out its features until he drifted off to sleep in the passenger seat. While he slept, his uncle had a small nightmare of a horse with large black eyes running up to his window. The dream startled him a bit. He gathered his bearings and went over to his friend, who was driving with a terrified expression at about 50 miles per hour, quite fast for a truck of that size. "Why are you driving so fast?" he asked. His buddy explained that for the past couple of miles, the horse had been had been slowly inching closer and closer to the vehicle. Panic began to settle in as immense fear washed over them. They sped up to about 65 miles an hour to try and get away, but the clanking of the hooves of this horse slowly got louder and louder behind them. The driver instructed his friend not to turn around and look anymore, but to just look ahead and not at the horse because it seemed to gain on them whenever they glanced back at it. The uncle closed his eyes in fear, only listening, and when the hooves inched closer and closer, he glanced to the side window and saw the large black eyes of the horse looking directly at his friend from the passenger side, as it had now become. It was just like his dream. He screamed for his friend not to look and to just look straight ahead because the horse seemed fixated on him. They sped up as much as they could, but the horse kept a swift pace, still staring at the driver. When he finally glanced back, he began to cry, overwhelmed with emotion and panic, when suddenly the horse began to slow down. As it did, they saw it in the rearview mirror once, except this time it had no legs. It was just standing in the road, floating, staring at them, listening to wild
Yes, by the time y'all get married, bro, shit.
They told the
I post that to
man
like
driving
violent
what
shit.
they had witnessed.
Oh,
He told them that the
there we go.
road
I'll be
that was
good, Marco.
built
There
there
we
had
go.
gone
Hell yeah.
straight through sacred and vegetatory land, and they had been lucky to
That's
drive
so
past the area at that time of night and survive, because everyone who had failed had the ground there salted, meaning it was washed with bad energy. Years ago, when I was pregnant, we were just getting ready to go to bed, and it was late, about 1:30 a.m. This woman knocked on the door, and my husband answered. She was clearly high and jittery and looking around everywhere. She asked if she could use the toilet. My husband said no, this is not a public restroom. We both got a really bad vibe of her. She was quite a big woman, and clearly something wasn't right with her. She started to try and open our security door, rattling the handle, but we have always been very conscious of keeping it locked the minute we walk in. My husband told her to go away, and he shut the door. She started to bang on the door, screaming that she needed to use the toilet. My husband opened the door again and told her to piss off, or he was calling the cops. She stopped, froze, and for about 20 seconds stood there, staring at us, and then she turned around and walked away. We turned off all the lights and looked through the blinds and saw her. I said to my husband that was a setup for a read. The thing was I had actually seen this woman around before quite a few times, so she could have known that I was heavily, and that would make us a good target, because we would have been compliant. People have a tendency to be more compliant when they're trying to protect their family. I reckon she followed me home. I never saw her again.
Come back one more goal.
Staying at an Airbnb with my family before I go back to my normal boring life, and have been noticing some things that just don't feel right to me. 1. There are no normal doors in the house, only barn doors with their bottom stopper removed, which make it incredibly easy to simply push them off the hinges. 2. There are peek holes in different areas of the house that makes it easy to see into other rooms without someone seeing you. But what has been the final straw for me is that last night I Update as I sat for a bit, and then realized that actually no one was supposed to be home because everyone was at work. I did eventually go upstairs again and glanced in on the living room and saw nothing there. And I went through the house to confirm that, yeah, I was home alone. Then I went about my day because I just ignore things that are scary for a few days before I tell someone about it, because that's what I do.
Finished my chores. Ready for my allowance.
Your lady's way better than how I got paid for chores. Mowing all those lawns clearly paid off. That was not radical.
Bring your family into the financial future.
Oh.
Ask your healthcare provider about Ozempic.
This happened about 15 years ago when I was 11 and my best friend was staying over. Due to nature of the we were alone the whole day until 6 p.m. This happened around 4 or 5 p.m. We were laying around in my bed and discussing something about our dancing lessons. Then we stared to talk shit about one dance teacher. At one point, we both went quiet and were looking at each other in silence when suddenly some female voice said, "I know, right?" As if it agreed with what we were saying. Our faces turned pale in panic, and I went looking around house if someone came home early. Of course we were alone, and no one could pass my room from the outside since it's in the second floor. The voice was kind of high-pitched and basic sounding, so it couldn't belong to any of us. From that moment, I rarely say something out loud when I'm alone, because I'm afraid some random female voice will agree with me. I was home alone while my mom or stepdad or half-brother went to my stepdad's parents' house over a 3-hour drive away. It was nighttime and I was on the couch watching SpongeBob and talking on the phone with my then-boyfriend. Suddenly, I heard something solid hit the floor in my mom's master bathroom. Going up to check what it was, I discovered that it was a Thomas the Tank Engine train that my half-brother played with when in the bathtub. My mom had placed it on the completely flat bathroom counter behind a straightening iron and a hairdryer. How in the holy hell did it roll off when it was on a flat surface and behind those things? My girlfriend and I were getting ready to go camping. We had packed all of our stuff in the car, and she only had to do one more run while I waited for her in the car. The parking lot for my building is out the back door, but there's wasps and she's afraid, so she went out the front door and walked around the building. After she gets to the car, I remember that I forgot to grab something, so I go in the back door. I look at the front door and notice that the door has been latched. It would have been impossible for her to latch the door from the outside, and I watched her walk around the building, so there's no way she didn't go out the front door. The latch is designed so that it can't just swing closed, it has to be deliberately engaged. If my building is haunted, at least the ghost is looking out for us. Well, I was staying in a former brothel in Santa Fe, New Mexico one night. The owner was telling stories about the house as I was getting ready to go to sleep. As I was dozing off, the last awake, I hear women laughing in the distance, slowly growing louder. Then it seemed to pass right through the room and out the other
I'm gonna get
side.
off for now. Ooh,
No
what do you
car
have?
sounds, but moving laughter like 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke my wife up
What do you
to
have,
explain
buddy?
that the first time I thought I heard a ghost. I was convinced, and I don't
Was he
believe in
good?
ghosts. It was chilling, like it moved through
Actually,
the room.
yes, you do.
I've never been able to explain. Sounded
Oh,
like
so
about
no.
6 women laughing with an echoey
Well,
sound.
I hope everybody
Moved
having a
up
good day.
slowly,
I'll be
then
back on
quickly
later.
passed through the
I gotta go
room
take
and
care of some
faded in an
business.
instant.
Hope everyone having a great day today. Work coming out good.
So last year I was 16,
I'm
and
back
I
on
don't
soon,
remember
y'all.
the circumstances of me being
But yeah, have a
alone.
good day,
But
y'all.
I think my sister was at a friend's house and my parents were at a party with their adult friends. I'm antisocial anymore.